Hi guys, I'm just going to show you some really quick simple methods for bubble writing, okay, because we are going to be creating a piece for this term's major artwork, which is your skateboard, okay. So remember that a piece refers to a piece of street art that has text in it, okay, and for the sake of this activity your piece needs to have your name. Remember, it can be your first name, your last name, or maybe a nickname, okay, it's up to you. If you have a really long name, you might even choose to do your initials, okay. You might have 3 names. I've got 4 names: Samantha, Lee, Elwin, Elevato, so my initials will be SLEE, okay, Slee, which is, you know, maybe it's a really cool street name, who knows. However, for the sake of this activity, I'm just going to use my name, Sam. Okay, so on your tables, you're going to find these little visual inspiration packs, and they've got little examples of some different styles of bubble writing that you might like to use, and some of them are really typical graffiti or street art style, okay. And there's also a few examples of little images and icons that are, you know, pretty typical that, in street art as well, okay? So some of these like little spray cans and stuff like that, okay? So don't worry about this part yet. What I want you to get a handle on is just the bubble writing technique to start with, okay? And my little theory for this is just called adding the fat to the bones, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to pretend that your word is your bones, okay? So if I write, and I've got to do this really lightly, and you'll notice that I'm already making my bones stylized, okay? I'm not just writing in normal handwriting. I'm trying to warp and change the shape of my letters a little bit. So these are my bones. Now all I want to do is add the fat to my bones, which means I want to make them chubby. I want to engorge them so that they become bubble writing. So all I would do is I'm going to use these bones as a guide to make them thicker, okay? So I'm going to come around the outside, and I'm going to let some of these things bump into each other, okay? And there I've got a thick bubble written S, okay? All I would do then, and this is why it's so important to sketch lightly, is rub out my bones, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing with my A. And remember, I'm letting these bump into each other a little bit. And I'm playing around already with the shapes they're making. All right. I'm going to bring that out nice and thick. Back in. So I want it to be a recognizable S, A, and M. Okay. Some of these fonts, they're a little bit crazy, like some of the letters are a little bit hard to make out, okay, which is fine. Once they're all together, they kind of flow, and it's not a problem. So but to start with, just for the sake of practicing, I would try and start with your letters being a little bit more obvious, okay? So all I said, what I would do now is rub out my bones, and another really simple way, if you've done yours a little bit small, of engorging it even further is then adding a little bit of a border around it, and all you do is follow the outside shape that you've created there, like this, okay? Now I've made it even bigger, okay? So let's try that again up here, but maybe this time we might try and do something a little bit more stylized, something a little bit like this, okay? So I'm going to start with, if I have a look here, the S has a little kick out on it. So I'm going to start like that. All right, S. How's my A? My A is pretty similar to the A I did before. So it just goes around like that, around like that. And my M here has these cute little chubby bunny ears on it almost. All right, but it's got those little things there. So Now I'm just going to use this as a visual reference when I am creating my shape. And do you know what? It doesn't matter if it ends up a little bit different, okay? So I want, now this part curves around. That part's quite flat. Okay, can you see how I've mimicked this? And all I would do now is rub out the bones. All right, same with my A. I want to give it that little chubby bit there. Around, kind of comes up like that and down. Don't forget to do the insides of your letters, okay? That's something real that people do quite often. And my M, where was my M on this sheet? Oh, I'm losing my mind. Here it is, okay? So I want that flat section. I like those round, chubby bits. And there we go. All right, so I've made it a little bit stylized. Now all I would do is rub out my bones, and what I might do is then add, you know, some of these kind of images and things to my design, because remember your skateboard is quite long, okay? So if you've got a short name, putting it in the center is fine, but then you've got to fill the rest of the space. The other thing you can do is, you know, stretch it out a little bit, all right? Remembering that 3D is another really popular street art or graffiti method. I'm going to leave the 3D instruction up to YouTube, okay? We're going to look up some more tutorials on YouTube really quickly to just give you the really quick rundown on 3D writing, because it's not one of my specialities. However, I thought what I can show you to do just quickly now is maybe some of these little drippy things, okay? So drips, remember, fall downwards, okay? So you might choose to do them in your letters, but you might also choose to do them outside. So if you're going to do drips on the bottom, just make sure you've got enough space, okay? A few little drippy bits like this, okay, might be kind of cool. The other thing that is really common is adding shapes to the outside of your letters just to make them look a bit trendy, and that's another really popular street art style thing to do, okay? So remember those key tips though. We start with the bones, which are your letters. Now keep them, make them stylized to start with. Make them a different shape if you want them to be a different shape, okay? And then all you do is go around those bones with your chubbier lines and rub out the ones in the middle, which is why the bones need to be light, guys, okay? When you're happy with the way this is going, you can start transferring and changing your designs onto the skateboard templates that I'll give you, okay? And I'll explain the next steps as we get further down the process, okay? Good luck, guys.